Reverse light switch on a Skoda Fabia MK1 1.9 TDI EWT gearbox. If your reverse lights aren't working, first check the lamps. You might find they're visibly burnt out or the lens is full of water. Take the unit out, pull back the carpet, nip together the clips at the top and take the unit out that way. Sometimes the lamps aren't making very good contact in the unit. The lamp or socket contacts may be rusted, pitted, bent or twisted, or just very grubby. If you can't tell whether the bulb's gone or it's an LED, then replace with a normal filament bulb to check if it's working. Check whether there's power getting to the contacts. I'm going to do this with my multimeter set to volts. You can just as easily do it with a test lamp. Put your earth on the outer part. Set your meter to volts. And you should get approximately battery voltage, which I do in this case. But if yours doesn't, then we need to check the fuse. The fuse board's on the driver's side of the dash, just here, behind this cover, which you can take off with your key in the slot. Lift that out. I'll just have a look at my handy fuse plan. And the reversing light is 13, 10 amp, which is here. So it's this third one down. Turn the ignition on and you should get power to both sides of the fuse. Which, as mine's working, I do. If you don't have a test light, you can just look at the fuse, use the little pincers provided and attach to the fuse like so, and then just pull it out. And as the fuses are transparent, you can see the little connecting wire in between. Of course, a broken one will have a space. If your fuse is okay but you still haven't got any reversing lights, then you want to check the power to the actual brake light switch. Which is on the top front part of the gearbox on this engine. It's not that easily accessible. You can get to it underneath or from the top. It's much easier if you take the battery and battery box out, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take the air intake pipe out. There's just a little screw at the top here. Whatever you do, don't lose it down in the engine, it's only very small. Detach the pipe from the front, push it down and detach it from the back, or just yank it out. There isn't a particularly delicate way of taking these out, in my opinion. Once the pipe's out, we can look down inside the engine, and the brake light switch is just down here. Just move that selector bar out of the way. Here's the reverse light switch. So we need to take the electrical connection off. You just need a flat bladed screwdriver for this. Just push up on the clip and it should slide off. Then if we take the end of the connection and put two little metal pins into the terminals and attach our crocodile clips. Make sure they're not touching each other or any extraneous metal parts. Meter set to volts DC. Turn the ignition switch on and we can test to see if there's voltage at the connector. And with this switch you're looking at battery voltage. As you can see, mine's okay. My battery might not be, but at least my switch is okay. Hopefully yours is as well. If it isn't, then it'll be the cables supplying the switch. If you've got power at the connector but no lights come on, then we can take out the switch and test that. Or if you've got this far, you might as well just replace the switch. At the very least, you'll be able to eliminate the switch as a probable fault. To take the switch out, I used a 22mm 12-sided ring spanner that was slightly angled. Spray a bit of penetrating fluid and leave for a while.
Sometime later.
Undo and remove the switch. Once we've got the switch out of the car, we can test it with a multimeter. Attach one end with a crocodile clip. Turn the meter to ohms resistance. You should get OL, open loop, which means there's no continuity yet. And the plunger at the end is the switch. So I'll attach my other lead to the other connection and press the plunger. And we get about 0.3 ohms. Take my finger off. Open circuit. Finger on. A bit of resistance, which is expected. What you don't want is no change when you press the switch. So I'm happy that's working fine. You should get similar readings. If you don't, you probably need a new switch. Time for a brew, I think. A nice cup of tea. Reattach the connector until it clicks into place. Turn the ignition on. Depress the switch. And then go and check the lights are working. Which in my case they are. Job's a good one. One thing I'm going to do before putting it back is put a little bit of copper ease on the threads, just so it doesn't seize itself into the housing. You can probably get some special sealant for these, and a new one should come with it already pre-applied, but I'm not too worried that this is going to leak at all when I've tightened it up. You can of course put a crush washer on if you want, but I don't believe it's absolutely necessary, and I'm not sure if it's actually specified or not, as mine's the original switch with no washer. Just tighten that up to the required torque, which I'll leave in the description, although you'd need a deep socket for that, as well as taking the battery box out, unless you've got a very small torque wrench. But you could use a crowfoot attachment if you've got one, but I think you can pretty much do this by feel, as it's not such a critical part. Reattach the connector. Refit the air intake pipe back into the air box by lining up the screw hole. And refit the ducting by jiggling it over the front panel mount. And then don't forget the little grub screw. And we're all done. Just have to retest it after reinstalling the switch with the gear selector in reverse gear. Left hand side, OK, and the right. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you everybody that's subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. Hit the like button, give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Oops.